Welcome back to the Richard Sherman podcast. I got an incredible guest here, the big cat, Leonard Williams. How you feeling, brother? You've been playing great football.
I'm feeling great. Great. Appreciate that. Defense has been rolling lately. Since the bye week, team's been on a good high. We obviously came off of a loss that we're not happy about, but I feel like the team in general still got everything ahead of us.
No question, you got everything ahead of you. I mean, because that was a weird game, and it seemed like y'all found the answers in the second half. I don't know what the second half adjustments were, but it was right. Whatever it was, it seemed like y'all had answers for everything. And you personally, every goddamn third and fourth down when they trying to run the football, you finding a way to get through. One time it looked like they just parted for you.
Yeah,
and I was like, how are you not gonna block him?
Yeah, I know. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take that layup, but I also think Mike just called a great call, and we had like a little outside stunt, and I think the offensive lineman just wasn't expecting me to stunt out, and they kind of like misread their blocks or something like that, and it just timed up perfectly. I got in the backfield. I didn't want to shoot my shot right away, so it was funny. I got in the backfield and kind of like squared up, like, but it was a great call, though.
Yeah, to talk about that, because obviously, you've come here and you got traded and all that, and then you get a new coaching staff, and it's much different, I think. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like a much different scheme than you've played in the past, and they used you a lot of different ways, inside, kind of on the edge-ish. Talk about that and how much it really gets to showcase your versatility.
Yeah, in my opinion, defensive coordinators that have like utilized me the best have always played me like all along the D line, because I can play like pretty much a shade like all the way to a 9 technique if I have to. And to me, I like doing that because I'm able to move all up and down the line, not always sticking in one spot, getting double teamed and things like that. And actually, I did play in a similar defense with Wink Martindale.
Okay.
He was also from the Ravens, so it was slightly similar. I think the biggest difference is here we have a combination of that Raven style defense, like with also AD's style of like pass rush, which for me is a great combination, because I think that older like Raven style defense, they have a lot of like safety blitzes and pressures and things like that, where sometimes a lot of the big guys, our job is to just like eat blockers and like have these like smaller guys free off the edge. And like I feel like this combination of defense allows like the big guys to eat too.
I want to hear about Ernest Jones and Tyrice Knight, because again, we talked about the bye week and how dominant y'all have been since the bye week. I mean, those have been the biggest changes. Nothing bad. You don't got to say anything about Tyrell and Jerome. You know what I mean? Obviously, the coaching staff made the decisions they felt like they needed to make, but those guys have come in and just played like their hair's on fire. Ernest didn't even know the scheme, came in first week and was moving and shaking.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, those guys came in and made a big difference. Our defensive run game has like changed a lot since the bye week, since having EJ and T Knight back there. I love T Dot and those guys, but I feel like like you said, I don't control the moves, but in the end of the day, I love having EJ and T Knight back there. T Knight's like a young guy who's clearly just hungry and striving to be the best he can every week. We started competing with each other since that Cardinals game, and like every week he comes up to me now and he's just like, "Hey Leo, like we're gonna compete again, And that's like, I could just see that hunger in like a young, passionate player's eyes, that I'm just like, man, I was there before, you know what I mean? So I love it. And like EJ, I mean, it's crazy that he just turned 25. He seems like such a savvy vet already. There's times he's out there just telling us where the run play is going and bumping the front and things like that. So in my opinion, he's one of the best linebackers that I played with, to be honest. And I've only played with him in a short amount of time, so hopefully we can keep playing together.
Last year, you were the first player to play 18 games since like 1930 or something crazy like that. You got no bye week. Did you feel it?
Yeah, I'll say I felt it for sure, especially playing 18 games in year 9. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't want no part of that.
But I finally got a bye week this year, and I also felt that it reminded me of how useful having a bye week is in the middle of the season. It's much needed.
So you go from that to like this year, new staff, but you're a leader, you're a captain. You know what I mean? This crazy talented front that you guys have, Derek Hall, the rookie, Byron Murphy. There's so much talent and really depth on this D line. Can you talk about how much fun you guys have? Because sometimes, when there's egos involved, people don't want to rotate out, people don't want this, people don't want that, but it doesn't seem like y'all have that. Jaron Reed's in there, you know what I mean? There's a lot of really talented guys, interior and on the outside. Draymond Jones and Boye. Talk about how it is to manage those guys in that room.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think this is one of the most stacked D-lines I've played on in my career, and I played it with some really good guys throughout my career. When I got drafted, I played with, Sheldon Richardson, Snacks, Damon Harrison, and Big Mo Wilkerson. We pretty much had like 3 first-rounders in the room, and even this feels like we have way more depth and rotation here. And like you said, sometimes it's hard to not have egos when you've always been a guy your whole life. You know what I mean? Let's say every guy in our room has been the best at their high school, the best at their college, and even some of the best in the NFL sometimes. And it's hard sometimes when you have a room full of just alpha guys. But I think just from learning each other and having that type of family environment that we have in the D-line room has allowed us to just like understand our role and just live up to our role the best we can. And, we try to take ego out of it as much as possible.
All right, let's pivot a little bit because this is personal questions. Well, personal for me because I'm a Pac-12 guy. And I just want to ask what you think about all this chaos in college football and just, they ruined it, man. They ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing about how I'm seeing. Like, I agree that I think they ruined it just because when I was in college, it was like all about like, we were broke college kids. It kind of what brought us together. Once I got to the NFL, it was like so different because it's like now people are playing for money. Everybody kind of has a different agenda and things like that. So you don't see that connectiveness as much once I transitioned from college to the NFL, which is like now you're starting to see that before kids even leave high school almost, because it's like kids are already in high school thinking about NIL deals and things like that. So it's just like it's become so much more of a business and just money oriented and things like that. So
I'm fine with the money, you know what I mean, if you run it like the pros. You know what I mean? Run it like the pros did, you know what I mean? But it's like these kids are sitting there
like the transfer.
I didn't get enough money, so I'm transferring, or I didn't get enough money, so I ain't playing this game. I'm not practicing this game. Like, bro, and you can't really punish them as a coach. That's why I don't think Belichick is going to do well, because in the league, you don't practice, you're getting your behind fine. These kids coming to practice and like, I'm not practicing, cut me, and I'll transfer.
That's crazy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the part.
No, that's a problem. That's a problem for sure. I felt like, I mean, and the worst part is eventually all the players are just eventually going to bleed out from the old ways. And, all these people from the NIL are eventually going to be the NFL players. And it's just tough to see, like, sometimes.
But the kid from SC, specifically, the Bear Alexander kid.
Oh, yeah.
They said he's transferred 7 schools in 7 years. They said he 4 times in high school, and this will be his 3rd transfer in college. Like, a kid like that, if I'm an NFL team, I don't know how I'm drafting that kid. I don't know how I'm drafting that kid. You can't stay still.
Not loyal.
No loyalty and no ability to overcome and just like 10 toes down and dig in and like, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the main phrases that freaking Mike Macdonald says all the time is through, not around. And it's just like, that's one of those situations where, kids, instead of facing the hardships and facing the difficulties and being with the team and going through it together, like kids sometimes nowadays can just be like, F it, I'm going to just transfer. And, to us, that's going around. You're not going through the problem.
Exactly. And I don't know how you fix that. You know what I mean? The NCAA could have done it when they first start asking, hey, time to pay the kids. They should have just put a salary cap in and then upped it, and you would have had a better argument. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. Sorry, we digress.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. So many games every day, so many opportunities to place your first bet. Try betting on something simple, like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place your bet now. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet just $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Richard. That's code Richard for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. When you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. So I want to talk about your time in New York and you coming back and having a game you had there. That had to feel like, boy, it can't get no better than that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy full circle moment. Me and Geno and in all my interviews leading up to that game, I kept trying to say, I'm treating it like a regular game. I got drafted there so long ago. I'm not really attached anymore and things like that, which was all true for me leading up to the game. But I got to say, after the game, it definitely felt like, okay, that was pretty poetic, to be honest. So, it felt good going back, playing in MetLife Stadium on a, opposing team this time. And, having a day like that, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a 92-yard pick six, the longest by a 300-pound plus player. I mean, what about Jay Reed talking about he didn't know you was that heavy? I said, Jay Reed, what do you think? You think this big human being is? You think he's 290? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I guess because my frame looks a little leaner than most guys, 300 plus pounds. I think sometimes when people think of a 300-pounder on the D line, they're probably thinking of a big rounder guy. But I'm tall and lean, more athletic built. So sometimes guys think I'm around 280, 290 sometimes.
I don't ever
312, man.
I don't ever confuse it.
You've been around football enough, you know what I mean? Which Jay Reed shouldn't. Ooh.
So that's what I'm saying, Jay Reed. You're a D lineman. That's all you around. Yeah. You know the difference. But talk to me about your draft day experience, because clearly, we had two totally different draft day experiences. You were going top 5, and I was trying to get drafted.
That's hilarious. I mean, hey, you had a great career, man, regardless of where you got drafted.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, my draft day was in Chicago, which was pretty cool. I think it was one of the first times they started switching up where the draft was. I think it was always in New York before that. I ended up falling out of the top 5, which is where I was projected, and I went 6th overall. So obviously, still, a really happy, exciting day for me. Had all my family with me in Chicago, and I just was not expecting the Jets to draft me, though. I remember, because when I seen them up at 6, I'm like, oh, they already have Mo Wilkerson and Snacks and Sheldon and all these guys on the D line. They don't need another D lineman. But I remember when they called me and took me, they were just hey, we see it as, best available, not necessarily what the team needs. And they thought I was, best available on the board and drafted me to the Jets.
It's such a different city. I can imagine getting drafted to New York. It's such a big city, so much to do. So much expectation, so much media scrutiny and attention. I know that had to be a hard transition.
Yeah, that is hard. I mean, especially right out of college. I was a young player. I was only 20 years old. I remember even taking the D line to Ricky dinner, and when I got the bill and I tried to pay for it, the lady was just like, "Wait, you can't pay for the bill because y'all had drinks and you're under 21." So I got off the hook a little bit, but They for sure found another way to get it out of me. Don't worry. You know how I was back then, man. Back then, that's crazy. That was 10 years ago for me, so I could say that.
Yeah, that's good. Time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That's crazy. And then you come to Seattle. Seattle's a whole different city than New York. You know what I mean? And you're not really in Seattle when you play for the Seahawks. You're really on the east side.
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough playing in New York, I'll say. I mean, especially, like I said, as a young player, even getting drafted so high comes with its things as well. Being drafted so high, I'm thinking, I'm putting pressure on myself even. There's already expectations out there, and, I'm putting expectations on myself as well. So I felt like when I was younger, I was kind of forcing myself to try to make these like TFLs and sacks and I live up to my draft status, which I think made me play out of character and didn't allow me to play like freely, to be honest. And that's something I try to tell the young guys now. Now that I'm in year 10, I'm like, hey, like the reason why I'm able to play good now is because I go out there and play fearless. I know what I'm doing. I play free. And I'm not trying to like chase these plays. I'm just trying to, play good technique and play within the framework of the defense and things like that. So I think like playing in the city of New York definitely had a lot of pressure, a lot of scrutiny, media and things like that. And, playing in Seattle now is completely different. I talked about, I remember my first game here when I got traded. We played against the Ravens and it was an away game and we got blew out. It was an ugly loss. And I remember we got home at like 4 a.m., pulled up to the facility, and there's fans everywhere still, like after a loss. And I'm like, I'm not used to that. Because in New York, it's like we're losing at halftime and fans are leaving and booing our own team. Here they're still rooting for you even after a loss at 5 a.m. outside of the building. I'm like, this is different.
Oh, it's totally different. I mean, they're passionate, and I don't think people understand until you experience it. But that's a really cool experience and a cool story because we used to have that all the time, especially in the playoffs. We go to a game, play a playoff game, come back, and as the little road when you're coming out of the airport used to be lined with Seahawks fans. So when we got on runs, it used to just be like freaking like a mile worth of fans at whatever time we got back. It didn't matter what time we got back. It'd be 3, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's gonna be fans lined up, and it really was a cool thing to see and motivating factor and you had an appreciation for what those people were going through and people showing up for you, and you tried to put it on tape for them. But you put it on tape this year in a different way than I honestly think you have. It's you're probably gonna get your first All-Pro this year, I would imagine, unless they're voting it different than they have been. But you playing like an All-Pro, how much would it mean to you to be named to one of those All-Pro teams?
I mean, it would mean the world to me, honestly. I've been in this league for 10 years. And that's something that, every player strives to be, the best at what they do. And, I'm sitting in that defensive meeting room every day and I'm seeing you and Earl Thomas up there on the All-Pro board and things like that. And I'm just like, man, how beautiful would it be to add another Seahawk up there on that board? And, I want to be remembered here and I want to, put a stamp on my legacy and just my career and just like you said, like playing for those fans, like give the 12s just more things to root for, and it would mean a lot to me.
That'd be really cool, man, and I hope you get it. You deserve it. You've been playing your butt off. True Classics ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make for the perfect gift for guys this holiday season. They have premium products at an affordable price. Their shirts define your best features with a perfect fit. Snug in the arms and the chest with just the right amount of room in the midsection. They have 100% perfect fit guarantee and easy returns. If you're into working out like me, True Classic also has active wear with moisture wicking, quick dry, and odor control. The holidays are here, and True Classics ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make for the perfect gift for you and the men in your life. So if you're ready to upgrade your closet, shop now and unlock big savings during the huge holiday sale. Just go to my exclusive link at trueclassic.com/Richard to save. That's trueclassic.com/Richard. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. End the year with holiday cheer thanks to True Classic. Y'all got Minnesota this week. It's they're a tough team. They're 11-2. But y'all are a tough team and y'all a tough outfit, and I think it's going to match up really well. What do you feel like y'all got to do over these next 3 to get in? Because it's going to take all 3 of them really to get y'all in the playoffs. And I know, you take it one game at a time, but just talking the team more than the matchups and anything, what do you think you guys have to do as a team to just, keep steady the course? And, obviously you won 4 in a row before losing this one. What do you have to do going forward?
I think just really lock in. I feel like we did a good job of that after the bye week because we started off the season high and then we kind of lost a few games and then we were kind of at like that 500 team place after the bye week. And after the bye week, the leaders and the coaches and everybody said, hey, we got to treat it like playoffs now. So that kind of got us in the mindset of like week by week, we just were locked in. And I don't want to say we got comfortable or anything like that, but after 4-game winning streak, sometimes it does get a little, you've been there before where, guys start to get a little comfortable. You start not doing the little things as fine-tuned as you were when you were losing and knew what was on the line and things like that. So I think this loss, definitely put a bad taste in our mouth. We're about to be home again this week. And I think coming off of that loss is definitely going to make us, lock back in and dial in on the details again.
So how long you want to play?
Man, I think I want to play as long as I'm able to keep being a factor in this league. And then I'm going to try to keep playing, to be honest. I think when I was young, I said, hey, when I get to year 10, I'm going to retire. I was young. I thought, 10 years was a great career. Like, I didn't know how fast it was just going to go like that. You know what I mean? It went by so fast. And I feel like now I'm still playing, some of my best ball, to be honest. So I feel like I still got a few good years under my belt.
I think so too. I think that's going to be cool. And you say so much. When I was first getting into the league, I was like, man, I just want to get past the 3 years, 3 games, man. I feel like if I go 4, exactly. I feel pretty good about myself. Like I went past the average, and then I got to year like 9, and it was like in the Super Bowl, I was like, I think I could do a couple more. I think I got a couple more in me. I think I got this game pretty well figured out.
You get to that point.
Yeah, and it's so hard because you tell
you get
young
to that
guys.
Point to when you're older, where you almost just take it year by year at this point. You know what I mean? It's just like as long as you're still feeling good, still got it, you're just like, all right, maybe I got a year or 2 more left in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you take it year by year, and you're so like you have such less wasted movement now. You know what I mean? Like you're not wasting. I'm not wasting time. I'm not wasting steps. I'm not like doing unnecessary stuff. I know how to take care of my body. I got my routine together. I got my off-season routine together. Like I know what's going on. And sometimes it's hard to explain it to a young guy until they experience it. You're like, hey, you might not want to do that. You might not want to do that. But sometimes you got to go out there and bump your head to be like, oh, okay, maybe you should. Look, I told you. I told you might not want to do that. Like that was from experience.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I was going out all the time. Like you said, I was in big New York City. I had that, I wasn't taking care of my body as well and things like that. And like you said, it's like being older now, it's like you understand the game a little bit more. You're not out there just like wasting energy. And I've been talking about joking lately that I just have like grown man strength too now. So it's like once I reach a certain age, it's like now I'm like, okay, if I'm getting a one-on-one block, I know I'm gonna lock this guy out. You know what I mean? So,
right.
That obviously plays a difference.
No question. I don't know if you got kids yet, but as soon as you have kids, that it comes that day.
That's now you got something to play for. That's what it is.
I start long arming people at the corner spot. I said, look at this. Where did this come from?
What you know about a long arm, bro?
Come on, I know something.
You blitzed a few times?
Hey, every now and then. You know what I mean? We sit
off the edge. The arm over is crazy.
They never let me blitz though. You got any questions for me before I let you go, man? Because I know this is your off day, and you got to go get your time, and I appreciate you sharing some moments with me. But I know you gotta go take care of yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I didn't expect you to ask me if I had any questions, to be honest. But I definitely hope we can link up sometime and chat and just keep talking ball. And I want to be an All-Pro one day, and I want to continue to be an All-Pro. So I think just seeing how you manage being that level this year in, year out, like back to back, you know what I mean?
We could definitely chat that out. I'll pull up to the facility, and we can have coffee in Mo's office and chop it up and talk some ball. But it's a lot of it is just grinding, man. Like it's staying in your routine. It's like everything you're saying right now and what you're talking about, like playing free and like letting it go and trusting the tape you study, trusting your teammates. Like for us, it was like the standard was so high for us that we'd be practicing so damn hard every damn day that you go to games and be like, oh, it's like a sigh of relief out here. Y'all boys don't know the tempo. By the time y'all get the tempo, we up by 25.
I love that, man. Jay Reed talks a lot about that too, actually, because he played with y'all. You know what I mean? So he talked about how different y'all were in practice. that's the main thing he talks about. He doesn't talk about game day. He's just like, man, the way these guys practice was like on another level, you know?
Because we have like imagine the annoying guy in practice that goes way too hard in walkthrough.
Mhm.
We had like 25 of them.
Like all of y'all that way.
The whole defense. So you sitting there and you're like, hey, y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all putting cleats on for walkthroughs. Y'all like rolling all the time. And it's like at that point, Pete has to just say like, hey, either you don't want us on the field or don't do the walkthrough, because you know what tempo we're going to be at and you know what it's going to be asked and what we're going to be doing. So if you don't want that, don't put us out there. Put the scout team out there and let it go how it's going to go. But if you put us out there, you're getting full speed tempo and you're getting aggression.
All the time. In aggression.
In aggression. Because somebody might
like
get hurt. That's why we kept losing draft picks and stuff, because we go to OTAs and, you know, they tell us not to break up passes and stuff. But Pete, you know, it would show one-on-ones every single day. And he'd show one-on-ones and he'd show the corners losing. And it's like, bro, I could have batted that. I could have picked that. But y'all tell me not to go for the ball. All right, that's the last we're going to ever do that. So now we're going for the ball every time. Kick me out the practice.
Put manners into our own hands.
Yeah, that's how we was. And then we lose draft picks and all this other shit. But now you know, don't show one-on-ones if you don't want us going out there and playing as hard as we can. Because don't try to get these dudes no fake confidence. We ain't like that.
I mean, we all competitive out here, man.
We all real dogs. But I appreciate you, brother. I'll let you go. I'm gonna hit you, give you my number once we get off the recording, and we could figure out when you're free and I can pull up and have some coffee in Mo's office.
All right, for sure. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
I judge the quality of a fragrance by the compliments you get. When I wore Ovation for the first time, second time, and third time, usually I walk past somebody and they're like, hey, what you got on? Who over there smelling good? You know, that's the injection of confidence right there to you.
That's right. We want to be at the forefront of using the brand as a gateway for these young athletes. Custom suit, we do a photo shoot, we do video, and it's all about that partnership to create a personal brand.
And I love you guys associating it with more sophistication. Throwing a suit on a kid, sometimes it takes for you to see yourself with a suit on in the mirror to be like, hey, I have more to offer.
Ovation for Men, we're part of Amazon's Black Business Accelerator. You know, Amazon has invested $150 million for the next 4 years to uplift small businesses like myself to scale. You know, Amazon is really putting their money where their mouth is.
They're committed to excellence on every level. They want to scale these businesses to be amongst the best in whatever industry they're in.
You've always been authentic. You've always been pushing excellence.
Well, I appreciate that.
As our slogan says, every man deserves an ovation.
Yes, sir.
Listen, this relationship with Ovation for Men, Richard Sherman, the volume, this is just the beginning.
I appreciate you guys letting me be a part of your journey. If you haven't already checked them out, go out there, get your man some. And get the sport too. And it can be Christmas, birthday, holidays, or yesterday. But make sure you get it.